Welcome back to Fatherhood in Focus. This is episode 12, and in episode 12 we are going to continue the theme about supporting mum on her return to work. Now, it's been a busy summer period. We've just got through the summer holidays, the kids are about to go back to school, and we are finally free from the childcare cost, the handcuffs that can prevent many working parents from returning to work. This is an exciting time, but also it sets a new precedent for us in the family home. We've now got both boys into school, and we are managing one in juniors and supporting Max, our youngest, as he transitions into that all-important reception year. He's ready, he's been ready for a while, and he's excited. He's not apprehensive, and I think he's probably picked up on some of the emotions that his older brother would have exhibited over the last 3 years. Now, Henry, our eldest, does he like school? Does any boy under the age of 8 like school? Does any boy under the age of 10 like school? It's a difficult one. It's a difficult transition to manage. And actually, if you think about the pressure of a mum returning to work and the support network that she needs, and whether or not she's getting that support network from both at work and at home, I think the reality is it kicks in even harder when they're at school. Now, the school isn't always set up to be open and aware of the challenges facing modern working parents. The school that we're aligned to is supportive to an extent, but you certainly feel the eyes judging when you're not regularly there at pickup and when you have those all-important parent-teacher meetings. Now, for my wife, she is about to go back to employment full-time. She's always worked full-time hours, but we're about to extend back out to 5 days. So we're hoping that it's going to release some of the pressure that she's been under as she's navigated the last 3 years with Max and Henry. It's exciting, but also, has she had the support from her employer throughout that period? And I think she's made the sacrifices. She has pushed herself to the very limits of what she's capable of in terms of that mental fatigue. And this early phase now, as Max gets into school, I think it just gives us a bit of time to reset, a moment to breathe and try and understand what the next steps are. Because in reality, the hard work starts now. You've got to get them through each school day, each school week, and yes, you've got to get them through to that all-important half term where they can rest and reset. But that creates more obstacles because you've got to then balance all the holiday and all the challenges that come with it. This summer, we've taken extra time off with the kids and spent a lot more time with them just to try and be present, engaged with them, and help create memories that we can all remember for a lifetime. Does that create more pressure on us as working parents? And I think it does. If you're readying yourself for a holiday, you're going to be pushing yourself to your limits just to get yourself sorted, get through the work and ready yourself for that all-important break. The problem is you bring some of that stress and the challenges of work with you if you don't have a moment to disconnect before you go on holiday. Get yourself packed up, get everything in the car or wherever you're travelling to. You want to be able to be present and focused on them during those trips and during those all-important moments. I think the reality is we just need a break. We need a breather. We need a moment to decompress. And sometimes that comes and sometimes that doesn't. In those early days of the holiday, yes, you're going to have some challenges. You're all going to have to adjust to the new routine, travel, tiredness, etc., etc. And school kind of has that same thing. Today, they're off. Tomorrow, Henry's in. Wednesday, Henry's still in, but Max is in. Then Max has a day off on Thursday because it's his first week of school, and then he's in from Friday, and that's it. So we'll have that first introductory week, we'll get through it, and then we've got to balance all the other things now as working parents. It's clubs, after school clubs, actual school and homework attached to it. So it's kind of a never-ending cycle of challenges that you need to overcome, and that's what makes this topic about supporting working mums so important. I think you have to be tuned into the emotional response to things like going back to work, and when they go to school, you've got to be tuned into the challenges that she's going to face on her return to work, but also how that emotional strain can manifest and how it can create pressure for you, for her, for the kids, and bring stress into the home environment. It's about understanding the dynamic, her role, your role, and the role of the employer, and how supportive they are or plan to be. So this episode, we're going to talk in more detail. We're going to dive deeper into supporting a working mum and how she transitions back to the workplace, but importantly, your role and how much of an impact you can have. Now, before we start the episode and dive into that detail, I'm going to make a confession. I did not see the challenges that she was going to face coming. I didn't understand how she would transition, and I didn't understand the emotional toll it might take. Did I fail her? I don't think so, because, and here's the argument, the education isn't there. I didn't fully appreciate what she would go through, both emotionally and mentally. I didn't recognise the signs, and when the pressure got too much, I wasn't immediately ready to listen. However, what happens if you listen carefully, you start to get frustrated, you start to get angry, you start to get protective, and that's where the frustration boils over. You want to have an open conversation and have that dialogue with her, but sometimes your frustration is louder than hers because you see her coming home from work, you see her distressed, you see the conflict, and as you warm to it and you start to understand what she's going through emotionally, mentally, physically, you see the drain on her resources, her energy. You can see that she's burning out. That is when you step in. That is when you step up, and that is when you listen. You have to open your ears. You have to respect her role and the dynamic within your family unit. She contributes, whether it be as a working mum or a mum at home, and you know that. I have to teach you the basics, right? But you have to be emotionally involved. You have to be empathetic to the situation. Sometimes pull the ego to one side, listen, hear what she's actually saying, and understand the subtle bullshit that she has to go through. Some of it is in plain sight. Some of it isn't acceptable. Some of it might be construed as banter. But the reality is, as she transitions back to work, you need to be on your toes, you need to be ready to support her, you need to be willing to listen, and you've got to communicate openly and honestly. You and I, we're problem solvers. My emotions run very differently to hers. I'm very much focused on the objective. I'm very much colder when I process that emotion. Because I'm logically going, what's the solution? How do we get there? How do I support you? And when can we start? I want you, as my wife, I want you to be afforded the same opportunities as I am. I want you to progress. If that is your choice, I want to be behind you. I want to stand there and revel in your success. But I can't step in. I can't protect. All I can do is get frustrated when you're overlooked and frustrated yourself. That is the role of the partner. You play a back seat, but you've got to be alive to the challenges that she's going to face. And I'm hoping this episode is going to set you free. So in this episode, we are going to include the balancing the roles and the identities within the family unit, navigating the practicalities, finding your partnership rhythm, your many roles as her partner, the championing of motherhood, and the power of recognition. Look, the decision to return to work after her maternity leave is a transformative one, and it marks a significant milestone in both her professional and her personal life. We all know that a work-life balance is incredibly difficult to achieve, and in reality, it is only ever achieved if we understand our priorities and recognise that we can't do everything. As a returning mum, she is going to have to navigate an entirely new world, and that balance is going to be hard for her to achieve. It's going to be something she will search for, but as a mother to a newborn trying to establish herself back in the workplace, she's going to experience this pull, this want to be home and close to baby. She will not only experience that emotional emotional entanglement, but she will also be adapting to her new identity, that of wife or partner, employee, career woman, carer, and underneath it all, mum. All of these things are in conflict, all have different priorities, and all are demanding her attention as she tries to find her rhythm. Your role as her partner is to step up and take on some of the emotional baggage and accept that this is a time when things are going to be very different. As she starts back to work, there will be a seismic shift in your partnership, and the division of responsibilities will need to be reset, and you have to be open to that. During her maternity, you will have been able to focus on your career and your short and longer term goals. But once she's returned, you're going to need to recognise that there will be demands on her time, and a new balance needs to be set. If you have agreed that it is financially viable for her to return, and to clarify, you both have to have agreed this, and agreed that the cost of childcare is not stopping her from returning, then together within your partnership, you must navigate the nuances of the challenge ahead with patience and perseverance. You must be emotionally resilient, and as her partner, you must be prepared to understand the conflict that she's going to face as she finds her feet. My partner wanted to return to work, and she'd worked too hard to establish herself to give it all up. She wanted to set an example for our children. You will know the balance is hard to achieve. As a father, you want to set an example, but you too want to have an impact on your kids and spend quality time building that connection that is unique to you and them. This is where your support is critical, and you must create space for her to express herself. Not only let her voice her frustration, but ensure that she feels heard. As she fights to get back on track, her confidence in her ability will be rocked. It will take time for her to feel confident in both her role as a mother, a role at work, and all whilst dealing with the relentlessness of wanting to be present and to be the primary carer for your baby. The early uncertainty erodes the very fabric of her being. It challenges her both emotionally and physically. And despite everything, she's going to push on and give both roles everything she has. As I've said, your role is to listen, learn, and embrace the challenge. As a natural problem solver, I've always fought the urge to step in and take charge. I focus on the solution, and in most cases, I'm kind of less interested in the problem. But during the early days, your best position is that of an active listener. Whilst you're distracted, searching for the solution, you're not giving her the chance to talk it through. She will need to understand that there is no immediate solution. All she wants is to be heard, and together you must direct all your energy to surviving the highs and lows of this phase. You must remember that she will be both excited and daunted by this new adventure, and in the early days, she must reclaim her professional identity and be recognised for her contribution and value at both home and work. Without your support, the very fabric of your relationship is going to be tested. She will see you differently. If you fail to support her, she will question whether or not you have her back. You need to acknowledge that this period is unsettling and the conflict she experiences is very real. As a partner, you've got to acknowledge your role in supporting her through the challenges ahead. You cannot be passive. I cannot make that any clearer. You must actively participate, create space, and be the listener she needs. You are right to focus on the solution, but if you fail to appreciate and emphasize with the problem, you may actually create a barrier between you and lose the connection that you both need to navigate this early phase. Remember, you cannot provide all the answers, but you can offer a comforting presence, assuring her, and most importantly, demonstrating that you are prepared to share the emotional load. Let's look at navigating the practicalities. I personally think one of the biggest challenges we faced when my partner returned to work was that our jobs were high pressured, required us both to commute, and often required us to work late into the evening. At the time, there was limited flexibility, and we had to find a routine that worked. In reality, that meant my partner picked up a lot of the slack. Why? Because my commute meant I left the house at 6:30 a.m. to make it to the office, and most evenings I was stuck in the office till 6 p.m. which resulted in me missing a lot of time and put a lot of pressure on my partner as she tried to find the balance needed to be a mum and a career woman. Today, we find ourselves in a much better place. We are both able to work flexibly, and I am able to step up, spend more time at home, and importantly, help out. The flexibility afforded by our roles and job choices means we're able to share the responsibilities. As a partner, I am now able to offer her greater support, and that helps her give her job the attention it needs. And importantly, she is able to demonstrate her talent. Ultimately, we both have to work to clear the bills, but her return to work wasn't just about the financial responsibility. I never wanted her to sacrifice what she worked for just because we had kids. Her talent, perseverance, hard work and dedication are the qualities that we want to instill in our children. I never wanted her to sacrifice the hard work and commitment that got her to where she was. As her partner, you want to see her reach her potential, grow in confidence and thrive in both roles. In order to see her realise her potential, you both have to find the balance that works. It is not for me to tell you what that balance looks like, because your balance is going to be very different to mine. This is about your partnership and seeing one another as equal. You both need to communicate, be open, honest, and be clear on what you need. You must be emotionally available, supportive, and ready to listen without judgment, and often without opinion. The practicalities might just include things like the chores, food prep, pick up, drop off. But in reality, understanding and adjusting to baby's development stages will also be in the mix, and everything during this time is going to demand more of you both. As a partnership, you will need to be flexible and accommodate the demands of both jobs. You must be ready to adjust accordingly and prepare for the unexpected. Your objective is to find the rhythm that works, one that enables you both to prioritise and ensure that personal and professional obligations are met. None of this is easy. It requires planning, effort, and clearly communicated expectations of one another. Your role is to create a supportive environment that not only eases the pressure, but it enables you to play an active part in the day-to-day responsibilities of the home. This is an opportunity for you to build time into your day to bond with your little one. This is more than about being present. This is your chance to create space for her to focus on her role as a career mum, whilst also dedicating time and space to spending quality time engaged with your kids. The practicalities of parenting go beyond provision and financial security. All those things baby and your partner need are in the mix, but your role is to shoulder some of the burden, which is an incredible thing. This is a chance to get more actively engaged in the development of your kids, and your active participation helps her to manage the stress and anxiety that comes with returning to work. This is your chance to influence the rhythm within the family home. You can work to find the right routine that works for both of you, and importantly helps her find her feet, feel confident, and strengthen the bond between you. As her partner, you've got to be willing to acknowledge the challenges on the horizon. You must recognise the pressure and strain that these challenges can put her under, because ultimately that pressure can spill out into your relationship. You've got to engage with her, must be willing to listen and be present and actively engaged in her career development. If you're not fully present and distracted, you can drive a wedge between you. As she embarks on this journey, she must believe that you have her back. Your role is not to spectate or underplay the importance of the role that she plays. You must be her anchor, and you must create space to talk, listen, offer advice, and commit to working through the challenges as a collective. Your role is to champion the mother of your children. My wife, she showed me the raw power of the female mind and form as she gave birth to our children. I was in awe of the sheer power on show, her ability to give birth with no assistance and no pain relief. I owe it to her to stand by her side and help her find her feet both through maternity leave and as she settles back into work. She showed me her resilience, courage and strength. And I think I initially undervalued those qualities. They're certainly values she's always had on display, qualities I've always admired, but they're also the qualities that she possesses at work, those that her employer ignored as she faced the challenge of being a working mum. And this is why the power of recognition is so important. We are equal and we are unique, with each facing individual challenges. I am aware of my standing as a male and those obstacles that I will not see and those that do not limit my progress. I will always champion the qualities of my wife, the mother of my children. My role is to speak honestly on the sacrifices she's made for the future of our family, but I didn't see the obstacles at first. But the subtle throwaway comments started to stack up from both men and women. And still, to this day, she faces challenges from people who question her ability to manage both. My ignorance in the early days was not helpful. I had failed to acknowledge the size of what she'd given up in the pursuit of being an incredible mum to our boys. Had our relationship been built on lesser foundations, perhaps that ignorance would have eroded the world that we had built. You must understand that she has put it all on the line for you and that her decision to return is not always one for her to make. If we ignore the sacrifice, whether consciously or unconsciously, then you're going to drive a wedge between you. And at a time when you are a crucial component to her successfully navigating this difficult period, you're creating tension. But if you recognise the effort expended and the importance that returning to work holds for her, you become her greatest ally. You must remember that her return to work gives her a sense of purpose. It's also an opportunity to rediscover a part of herself that she's put on hold. You've got to remember that this is part of her identity, her individuality, a part of her that makes her who she is today. It was about putting my ego to one side, something many find difficult. Like many before me, I saw myself as the provider and protector of our family. However, the question you need to ask yourself is this: if your playing big is shadowing her brilliance, are you really the supportive partner she needs you to be? As a working mother, she plays a pivotal part within your family dynamic, and as your partnership is put to the test during this period of upheaval and uncertainty, you've got to remember, before you and before baby, she was her own person. She had her loves, goals, aspirations and desires. By bringing life into the world, she sacrificed it all, and for some, she'll never get it back. You must encourage her to rediscover her sense of individuality. Her identity is more than just mum, and our role is to celebrate her and fight for her and stand in her corner as she faces the adversity that lies ahead. Your role is to champion the efforts that she expends, but you must also listen, because there will be times when that is all she needs. She won't need an opinion. She will only need to be heard, and if you ignore the signs, then you risk pushing her away. Your objective is to provide the support she needs without undermining her role as a mother and as a working, independent woman. That said, she must help you find the balance too, and she must recognise that the value and contribution that you bring to the family goes beyond your financial contribution and protection. You need to have an open line of communication on your roles within the relationship and the impact you want to have on both one another and your children. It is your partnership that will see you through, and it is your approach to communication that will help you talk through the challenges that lie ahead. If you're tuned in, you will see the pressure that she's under, and you will begin to appreciate her effort just to get back to where she belongs. Remember, she put her career on hold, and while she did it for the right reason, she lost something, and now she must fight to get it back. She will be seen to have taken a break, and that now she's got a baby, she'll be deemed less effective, and in some cases, she'll be ignored and isolated. That will not only breed anger, hostility, frustration, but it will, in next to no time at all, destroy her confidence and self-esteem. As a partner, you've got to be tapped into the pressure that she feels and the feelings of inadequacy that face many mums who return to work. If you miss the signs, then you miss your chance to stand by her side as a true supporter, the person that has her back no matter what. And if you miss that chance, then over time, it may erode the love, respect, and appreciation she once had for you. Stand strong together. In navigating the challenges of her return to work, it is clear that this is not just an individual journey, it's a collective effort. As a partner and husband, it's an emotive and challenging subject to tackle, but it's a responsibility that cannot be shirked. The frustration voiced is not just a personal venting, but a call to action for you to stand up and be counted. Your partner's return to work is not a seamless transition, it's a battle against biases, societal perceptions, and a lack of support and resources. The power of recognition is a recurring theme, a recognition of the sacrifices, the resilience, and the determination of a mother returning to work. Employers and leaders may not always understand the pressures of motherhood, but as partners we must. It's about acknowledging the effort, celebrating individual identity, and championing the journey. The return to work is not a fresh start. It's a continuation of a career interrupted by the beautiful chaos that is motherhood. As partners, we stand witness to the hurdles faced by our loved ones. It's frustrating, anger-inducing, and often tiring to witness the ignorance surrounding the challenges of working mothers. Yet our role is not to fight her battles, but stand beside her, offering unwavering support, understanding, and a listening ear. This is not a perfect manual, as experiences may differ, but as partners to working mothers, our commitment to understanding, supporting, and championing their journey is paramount. The return to work is not just her battle, it's a shared mission that, with patience, empathy, and united efforts, can be navigated successfully. I need you to stand up. I need you to listen. I need you to accept that you will not see every challenge coming. She will want to talk to you about things. She doesn't want you to give an opinion. She doesn't want to feel your frustration. She needs to be heard. She needs you to understand and empathise with the hidden stuff that goes on. Those comments that damage her self-esteem, her self-respect, her confidence. Women are standing up and not championing other women who have had children, because they see them as a threat. You and I, we've talked about it. If I beat you or you beat me, there will be some mutual respect. In the workplace, that is often not happening. She is seen as a spare cog in the wheel. She's seen as someone that cannot perform the way that she used to because she had children. She is seen because she needs flexibility to not be pulling her weight. Come on. These are the challenges that you and I, we don't face these challenges. You and I need to listen, be empathetic to the situation, understand the struggle, the challenge, and support her through it. Offer solutions, but only after understanding the problem. Your role is to champion her. Support her on her journey. Remember, her journey is unique. Her story so different. She is faced with an uphill struggle. You cannot take that struggle away. You cannot underplay its importance to her. Her confidence is based on her ability to deliver in her career and as a mother. And those two things are always in conflict. You can stand by her side. You can support her. You can give her the attention that she needs, and you can be open and honest in your communication style. Let her see you supporting her. Let her see you standing by her in her corner. Let her see how much you respect the effort that she expended and the sacrifice that she made for your family. This episode and the next few episodes are designed to get you ready to help her return to work. I'd be interested, as always, to hear your thoughts and views on the episode. I want to hear the horror stories. And if you take one thing away from this one, champion your partner. Never overlook her contribution never underestimate the impact her career and her choice to return to work can have on her health and well-being, confidence and happiness. Tune in to the challenges she's about to face, and help her build the resilience necessary to make the choices that are right for her and the family. I learned a lot from my own journey and my own setback. But these conversations, they've got to take place. And frankly, the employers, us as partners, the governments, they need to get behind the working mums and better signpost the policies, the financial impact that childcare and maternity can have on a family. They need to be educating from the top down that a mum returning to work is not just a number, but someone who contributed before they went off and is likely, if they're able to return to work and given the same support, contribute now. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.